You're watching RedChip TV, your source for small cap news.
Hi, welcome back to the RedChip Small Cap and Health Tech Investment Forum here in San Francisco. We're coming to you from La Meridian Hotel in downtown San Francisco, and we're excited to bring you another interview from a company here that's presenting in a big way here at the conference. This is Jim Joyce. He's the CEO of Aethlon Medical Incorporated. Let me give you that symbol. It's AEMD. That's traded over the counter for Aethlon Medical Incorporated. And Jim, welcome to RedChip Small Cap TV.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, well, tell our listeners, tell our viewers about Aethlon. What does the company do?
Well, we started the company about 9 years ago, and we've been working on developing the first medical device to treat infectious disease in cancer. And we've had very good outcomes in advancing this into clinical studies from a safety standpoint. And most recently demonstrated rapid reductions in viral load in HIV patients as well as hepatitis C patients. So we seem to be on the right track at this point in time.
What is it that separates your company from others maybe in a similar space?
Well, we're actually establishing the industry to treat infectious disease and cancer as well with therapeutic filtration devices. So the premise behind all of our devices is really to improve the ability for antiviral drugs and other types of therapies to improve their ability to benefit patients. However, in many cases when patients don't respond to therapy or become resistant to therapies, we're in a position to then provide a new treatment option that previously wasn't available.
Yeah, you're breaking new ground with this new approach, aren't you?
Well, we are. It's sometimes difficult, but the progress would show that we've taken something that was purely theoretical, advanced it into the clinics, and now seeing very good outcomes in human studies. And in fact, I think we hit a milestone of sorts for anyone in the therapeutic world. We recently demonstrated the ability to reduce viral load in hepatitis C patients as well as HIV patients with the same therapeutic approach, which is a first. There's never been a therapy able to demonstrate reduction in viral load in both of those conditions.
Well, take it a little level deeper. How do you filter this stuff out?
Well, we have a cartridge that would look very similar to a dialysis cartridge, and in fact, we really try to parallel a lot of our approach to treating people to that of the dialysis industry. In the dialysis world, the cartridges are known as artificial kidneys. They're designed to inhibit the progression of kidney failure. In our case, our cartridges are designed for the single-use removal of viral pathogens from blood, and they're designed for the single-use removal of viral pathogens to inhibit the progression of infectious disease. So in essence, we have a cartridge that has been able to demonstrate the ability to selectively separate viral pathogens and immunosuppressive toxins that kill off your immune cells, to separate and capture those from circulation. And through our cartridge, the entire circulatory system passes through about once every 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the size of the patient. So each pass through, we're reducing the body burden of the infectious target.
Did you bring something with you here? Show us this.
Well, we did. This is our hemopurifier technology.
Okay.
It's a first-in-class medical device to treat infectious disease. We're also seeing data outcomes related to immunosuppressive particles that are secreted by tumors in cancer patients to kill off immune cells. So there's also promise in that space as well.
Okay. So this is the filter that the fluid, the blood passes through.
This is the cartridge, and it's designed for use in conjunction with portable pumps or within the global infrastructure of dialysis machines already located in hospitals and clinics worldwide.
Sure, sure. Again, we're visiting with Jim Joyce. He's the CEO of Aethlon Medical Incorporated. The symbol on Aethlon is AEMD, and we're at the RedChip Small Cap Investors Forum in San Francisco. And Jim, tell us a little bit about how you got into this market, a little bit of your background and your team.
Well, we started, I was the founder of the company. I formed Aethlon for the purpose of acquiring a medical device company called Hemex. This was 9 years ago, and Hemex was developing a therapeutic filtration cartridge to treat harmful metals or to remove harmful metal intoxicants such as aluminum, lead, cisplatin, and chemotherapy to remove those agents from blood. And we had very high hopes for those applications, but quite honestly, you could say we floundered for the first couple of years. We transitioned the methodologies towards infectious disease targets, and probably in about 2004 felt we had a product that had broad spectrum capabilities against infectious disease targets, and not just as an adjunct to improve the current standards of care or therapies available to individuals, but as a means to actually address those viral pathogens that drugs and vaccines cannot address, which actually is the largest opportunity in infectious disease.
Fantastic. And tell us about some of the milestones then that you've hit. You've mentioned a few, and that kind of you're anticipating.
Well, you know, one of the key areas of focus right now is to establish what's called GMP manufacturing and quality systems, and this will allow us to export our technology for sale in practitioner-driven markets overseas and to other markets where our product might become approved. The other milestone in the near term would be related to initiating our human studies here in the United States. We currently have a IDE outstanding with the FDA related to a 10-patient safety study, and we hope to initiate that study in the near term. The applications are targeted towards, at present, bioterror threats, pandemic threats,
okay.
But we are looking to potentially increase those applications based on new data into hepatitis C and HIV as well.
Right, right. It's and of course, with that, just the markets that you mentioned, address the size of these markets and other markets that you're looking at.
Well, you know, the size of the HIV market, about 33 million people around the world are infected with HIV. The disease is pretty well managed by antiviral drug regimens, and in fact, you have to marvel at these drug regimens, just how well they work. But inevitably, all patients develop mutant strains in their system that take hold and inevitably cause drug resistance. So we have the ability to address the strains that cause viruses to, or cause individuals to fail their drug regimens. So that is a very, you know, 33 million people around the world. That is a significant opportunity. The more significant opportunity is hepatitis C. There's about 170 million people around the world affected with hepatitis C. Less than 50% respond to the current standard of care. However, if hepatitis C is different from HIV from the standpoint that it can be cured. If you can suppress viral load long enough, patients can have viral load to the point where the immune system takes over and clears it from the body. So we see that market opportunity as a very significant opportunity to increase the performance of the current standard of care, other candidate therapies in the pipeline. And our goal in hepatitis C is to rapidly take somebody from high viral load levels to very low to undetectable viral load, and we hope within a matter of days.
Okay.
And based on our clinical programs in 4-hour treatments, we think that's very feasible. And so if somebody would ask, well, what is the value of that? I think the alarm rang very loudly 2 weeks ago when Vertex paid $376 million for 2 very early stage hepatitis C candidates that are designed to be used in conjunction with Vertex's lead drug, which is still in clinical studies. And Vertex alone has about a $4.8 billion market value without an approved product in the market yet. So the stakes are very high in the hepatitis C space,
okay.
and we're not looking to supplant anyone from the space. We're looking to improve the benefit of both the standard of care in the market and other candidate therapies.
Well, your approach is a new application in this market, and compare that to the other known therapies out there. You said you can take that load down very, very quickly. What's standard out there?
Well, at present, when we calculate based on our clinical outcomes how fast we could take viral load down to very low to undetectable levels, the rates at which we would see that, there is no therapy that could do that. Now, this would be something synergistic with drug strategies, because once we stop treating, it's likely that viral load inevitably starts replicating again. So the strategy, and I think it's very well known that in the current treatment strategies for hepatitis C, that the lower viral load is at the point in time you initiate the therapy, the higher the likelihood you have of responding to that therapy and having what's called a sustained viremic response, which means undetectable for more than 6 months. That's considered curative.
Okay.
So in that case, if we can initiate our therapy at the time of the standard of care, or initiate our therapy and then hand the patient off to the current standard of care with low to undetectable levels of viral load, that should be of great benefit to the patient. And there's another aspect to this too. it's frustrating for patients because they have a very low batting average or chance of responding to the current standard of care. So many patients withhold or put off initiating the current standard of care, and as time goes on, they have higher viral load counts, which make it more difficult for them to respond to the current standard of care. If they had a methodology that they knew could bring down viral load to increase their likelihood of responding to these therapies, then they'd be more apt to initiate their treatment regimens.
Fascinating story. This is Jim Joyce. He's CEO of Aethlon Medical Incorporated. Aethlon's traded over the counter. The symbol is AEMD. And Jim, I love the story here. Thank you very much for being on RedChip Small Cap TV.
That's my pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
This report is not a recommendation or solicitation to purchase or sell any security, nor does it constitute investment advice. Visit redchip.com for full financial disclosures on RedChip clients.